Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of Imagination Megapark. Now in the last episode I finished off the Mystery Marsh area and I gave it this cool looking map edge with these creepy eyes. Let's see if they want to come out and play. There's one. But yeah, I'm super happy with how the map edge turned out, especially with these dark flames here at the bottom. Yeah, I think it turned out really great. And with that, the park is now almost finished. There's just 2 areas remaining and probably some final detailing, and then the park's finally done. But yeah, in today's episode I want to finish off the Subsea Sands area. Now this area is already mostly filled with rides. We can probably fit one more ride, maybe we'll do an extension here. And there's just some quite a bit of detailing that I still want to do in this area. Now before we do any building, let's go name some more mechanics after people who commented on the last Imagination Megapark episode. Alright, here you can see the new mechanics who have been named after commenters in the last Imagination Megapark video. Now, if you still want to make it into the park as a handyman or a mechanic, there's just going to be a few episodes remaining after this. So be sure to leave a comment in one of the coming videos if you want to be in the park. Alright, I'm gonna start off by filling up this area here in the corner. So this area is still empty, it's below this rowing boat ride. And the way I plan to fill this up is actually by just extending this sea slug ride that we have over here. I'm just going to extend this track over here, make it do a loop, and I'm just going to decorate around it. Right here you can see the new extension to the Sea Slug Safari ride. Now most of the landscaping and the foliage here is a lot like in the rest of the area here. So it's really nothing special to be honest. I also added a little turtle over here, some bubbles. Yeah, just more or less a repetition of what we already did here. But I do think it's a nice way to fill up this remaining area that we had here. Now another thing which really stands out to me in a bad way in this area is actually the top of this lighthouse. So I'm definitely going to remove this tower and this dome, and I'm going to try and replace it with something that looks a bit nicer. It will take a bit of experimenting to find something that I eventually will like, but yeah, let's just try and get something nice here. Okay, here's the new lighthouse top. Now, I still am not 100% happy with it, but I do think it's a big improvement over how it used to look. I think it looks more round now and definitely has a much nicer shape. Now, with the lighthouse top taken care of, I now want to place something in this area, but there's one little issue here, and that's that we have a dolphin ride, which you can see here, which actually passes quite low over this area, since the station is over here. So any ride that we build here cannot be very high. So yeah, what we can probably do is just build one of those single tile rides, just like I did in the Desert of Doom. So we'll probably just have an angry snapping turtle that just spins around quickly, and guests will have to try to sit on it. Something like that. I think that could be fun. Okay, here we now have an angry turtle which guests can ride. Now I named the turtle Mitch, and yeah, sometimes he just freezes up for a while, but then when the guests enter, he just rotates around frantically, trying to get these guests off his back. Now he can be pretty grumpy, as you can see, but the ride is usually pretty safe. Now I also decided to decorate the surroundings a little bit, just a little bit more of this foliage, some rocks, some of this grass in between. Now, this is a little bit glitchy when these dolphins pass overhead, but most of the time it looks nice, so I can accept a little bit of glitchiness. With that, I think this area is also nicely coming together. Alright, with that taken care of, I now want to focus my attention on the top of these cliffs on the map edge. Now, in some parts they already look a little bit more finished than other parts. For example, I think this here looks pretty nice, but over here it still looks a little bit rough around the edges. For example, over here. Now I'm going to also add maybe another layer on top and basically try to make it look a little bit less regular. And maybe also in some spots I'll add some foliage. But yeah, I'm just going to play around and try to make it look a little bit nicer. Alright, I think that looks much nicer now. I added a little bit of irregularity here and there, some extra layers. Mostly just filled it up with this, this stone land, let's call it that. What's it actually called? It's called wind sculpted roof, flat roof piece. I wouldn't really consider this a roof, but that's what the game calls it. But yeah, all in all, I think this looks pretty cool like this. Now with the top of the cliff taken care of, and now I just want to fill in the empty areas we still have here and there with some foliage, maybe a building or two. Now these little places are all over the area, so I'm not going to do it in a time lapse. That probably wouldn't look very nice. So yeah, I will just do this off camera and then I'll get back to you. Alright, I went through this entire area and everywhere. I just added new decorations. Mostly I added a lot of foliage along the area. And another big thing that I did is that I put some different colored ground under these paths. And that just makes them blend in much more in a much nicer way. With the sand, it wasn't as nice. But yeah, it just goes to show what a simple land texture change under your paths can do. I think this looks much nicer than how it used to look. Now another thing that I did throughout this area, which might be a little bit subtle, but for example you can see a turtle swimming around here. And there's also 2 eels that just swim through this area continuously. One over here and there's another one over here, but yeah, they just go around in circles. Now there's also some dolphins and some more turtles swimming around. I think that just really adds to the atmosphere. Now I didn't really want to overdo it, so you'll just see them swim around in several areas, but I think it's a pretty nice addition to this area. Now with all these extra decorations, there's just one thing left to do, and that's to finish the map edge. Now for this map edge, most likely just going to create another cliff wall that will look like what we have here on the inside, minus the blue. Now I also want to have a few small caves where it looks like the water is pouring out. So we'll also have a few waterfalls here in some sections. So yeah, I think that's enough talking. Let's start on the map edge. Alright, the map edge is now completed for the Subsea Sands area. Now the cliff face actually looks the same as it does on the inside. But of course with a little bit more foliage. And I think these waterfalls that I made here also add a lot of character to this area. Now for the bottom of the cliff, I did the same as with the Desert of Doom. I added some of these crocodile bushes and some other bushes in front just to make these rocks look a little bit more crumbly. But yeah, altogether I think it looks pretty nice. I'm definitely happy with how this part turned out. Now with that, the Subsea Sands area is now completed. Now before we do a tour through this area, we should probably add a few more patrons to the park. So 2 new patrons joined, so I will now give those a nice spot in the park. Alright, Koen Timmermans and Thunder, thank you so much for joining my Patreon channel. Support is really appreciated, and I've given you both a nice spot in the park. One on top of this star flyer over here, and Thunder is a pirate here on top of walking around on top of the entrance here. Now I hope you guys enjoy your spots in the park, and once again, thank you so much for the support. Alright, Kazrag joined the mechanic tier of my Patreon channel, so he gets to get a nice color for his name, and he wanted whatever color would go with the theme he was in. And since he has a spot in the lava lands, he will get a red name. Alright, thank you so much for joining the mechanic tier, and yeah, once again, I hope you enjoy your spot in the park here. Alright, with that done, I think we can do a tour through the Subsea Sands area. So over here you can see the entrance. So there's these 2 dolphin fountains here. A little snail and some other decorations here. Here on top there's several rides. There's these 2 slides which lead downward into the lower section. And over here we have a little boat hire where the guests actually sail on or row on top of the water here. Now over here we have this car ride which uses these vehicles from one of the expansions, and has lots of decorations around it, including this eel which twists around the guests here. Now over here in the center we have this huge lighthouse which also serves as the station for the air balloon ride. It's clearly visible from every angle, and it definitely does block some of the view, but I think it looks nice, especially with this new roof that we did in this episode. Now then over here there's 3 more slides which lead to the lower level of the Subsea Sands, where there's plenty more rides for the guests. Oh, I actually skipped over this turtle ride, which we also made today. It's a very angry turtle, and the guests can ride it and try to stay on its back for as long as possible. Now over here there's this subsea show. I call it the pirate show. So you can see this big stage over here, also really beautiful with this eel swimming by. Well, on the stage you can see several entertainers performing together with several sea creatures like these turtles. There's a orca here, also a dolphin swimming around. Now throughout this entire area there's this dolphin taxi. You can see some of these dolphins over here in the station. I believe there's 3 trains, and they all look like a group of dolphins that's swimming around. This is definitely the ride that I'm most proud of. Let's see if we can see one in action. I don't think so. There we go. Well, there's currently no guests on this train. There actually is on this last one. But I think it's really fun to watch these dolphins swim around like this. Now, it does have the tendency to get stuck sometimes, but it's usually easily fixed. Doesn't happen too often, very rarely. It's annoying when it happens. But yeah, it doesn't really often need any action from me. Mostly it will just keep running fine. But yeah, I think it's definitely one of the coolest rides in this part of the park. Now over here we have this giant sea creature carousel. It's a giant merry-go-round. Over here we have this swinging ship which uses this shark vehicle. Over here we have these dodgems which actually use these dolphins as vehicles. Over here we have this Subnautica coaster which has a beautiful castle station, and it has these submarines which are suspended below this track. Yeah, I'm really happy with how this coaster turned out. I think it looks great here in this underwater landscape. Over here is a small carousel, also with dolphins. Here we have the turtle drag race, so we can see pairs of guests battling it out here on top of these turtles. Now we will flood the park later with 4,000 more guests, so then we'll probably see this ride leave more often, and we'll definitely have twice as many guests in this part of the park. So now it may sometimes take a while for the ride to leave. Now over here we have a big flying coaster. I'm also really happy with how this one turned out. I especially like the custom support that I made for it, but also I think the layout is amazing. And I think the rock work and the foliage worked out quite well. It's definitely its own area within this area, with its specific color of foliage here. Now over here we have Turtle Golf. So this is actually a mini golf ride where the guests ride on top of a turtle. That looks pretty silly, and yeah, I think it's a really fun ride. Now I may have forgotten a ride or two, but I think we got most of them. Yeah, I think this area is really unique in the park. Yeah, it was pretty challenging to build every now and then. Foliage was also pretty challenging to make it look nice, but all in all, I do think it looks like this area is actually underwater. Alright, that's going to be it for this video. I will end this video with a nice cinematic overview of this Subsea Sands area. Now, if you enjoyed watching me build, please consider giving this video a like. It really helps out my channel. And if you want to see more videos like these, you can always subscribe. And please let me know in the comments which one of these rides is your favorite. Alright, that's going to be it. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you again in the next one. See you later.